Hey, what's up? Welcome back to my channel. I'm Ivy, and today I'm going to be doing my May wrap-up and June TBR. It's late, but aren't they always? I'm going to talk about the shows and movies that I watched in May, as well as the singular book that I read. I know, I read a whole book. Isn't that exciting? We're going to start with shows. The only show that I watched was actually a rewatch, and that was series 2 through 4 of Sherlock. I talked a lot more about this in my last wrap-up because I finished season 1 last month, but this is my favorite show of all time. I think season 2 is my favorite. My two favorite episodes are the last episode of season 2 and the final episode, the last episode in season 4. I mean, they're all fantastic, but those two especially are so good. I gave this 5 out of 5 stars. Yes, I cried. This show destroys me every time. I watched some fun movies this month. First of all, we have The Mitchells vs. the Machines. This was such a pleasant surprise. Going into it, I expected it to be good, but not phenomenal. This might be one of my favorite animated movies of all time. This is about the Mitchells, a family who is the only family left to save humanity from the robot apocalypse. It's so good. It is such a smart movie. It has so many layers that just make it so good. There is so much to this film. The animation style is so cool. It's so unique. So much fun. It's utterly hilarious. Every single joke in this movie is spot on. There's some movies, you know, when some jokes are funny, some miss the mark. Not with this one. This one hit every single joke perfectly. It was flawless. Like I said, there are so many layers. There's just so much going on in this movie, and it handled everything so well. You would think with so much going on that it would just be kind of meh and trying to do too many things at once, but it handled everything perfectly, in my opinion. It's a love letter to movies because the main character wants to be a movie maker. It's like a commentary about technology and social media. It's about following your dreams and being yourself no matter what anyone tells you. And my favorite part is that it's about family relationships, this whole family, like all of their dynamics, especially the relationship between the daughter and the dad. It's so well done, so real and emotional, but in like a really accessible way. Anyone of any age can enjoy this movie. It's for everyone. 5 out of 5 stars. It did not make me cry, but it better win all of the Oscars. I'm calling it right now. This will be Best Animated Picture next year. On a very different note, I watched The Silence of the Lambs. This is about a badass female FBI agent who has to enlist the help of a cannibal / serial killer to try and find and capture a serial killer that is currently on the loose, killing people. It was very slow at first, but then it picked up, and yeah, it was a slow burn, but eventually it got really good. It's intense, like very, very intense, very intriguing. The storyline is very well done. Just exciting all around for most of it. Like I said, it was slow at the beginning. Don't really want to tell you too much because this is a movie that you just kind of want to watch and see for yourself, but the actor who played Hannibal the Cannibal was fantastic. Definitely some stellar acting, but Jodie Foster was also really great as well. My favorite part of this movie, though, was the fact that there was an underlying feminist theme, which was very pleasantly surprising for me since it's not old, but you know, it also didn't come out in the 2000s. Said a lot of important stuff about feminism and what it's like to be a woman in her, like, what's the word I'm looking for? In her job, like what it's like to be a woman in that field, and lots of other stuff, because the serial killer only goes after women, so there's that, and I don't know. I was like, wow, this is really feminist, and I was excited. I gave it 4 out of 5 stars, and it did not make me cry. Switching gears again, next I watched The Naked Gun. This is just a spoof of cop movies, which, you know, was fun. It was exactly what you would expect, very slapstick style, which definitely has its place. There are some scenes in here that are absolute gems. I'm not even gonna describe them to you. Just watch it if you're curious. You will laugh a lot. There's so many hilarious little details in this movie, like just little stuff that will be going on in the background, and you could tell that they put so much thought and effort into this movie, and I really liked that. Leslie Nielsen, I'm pretty sure this was my first time seeing something with him in it, and I loved him a lot. He was great. I don't think I'll be watching the rest of the Naked Gun movies because there's far too many and there's just other stuff that I want to watch, but overall it was a really solid comedy. I gave it 4 out of 5 stars and it did not make me cry. Then I watched Dodgeball. I've been wanting to watch this movie for so long, and let me tell you, I'm so glad that I finally did. This is about a band of misfits who have to join a dodgeball tournament to try and save their beloved gym because they're gonna go bankrupt otherwise. They're gonna use the prize money to save the gym. I did not make that clear. This is actually hilarious. I mean, the concept is so stupid and ridiculous, but it worked so well. At the same time, though, it was also heartwarming somehow. Like, I don't know. I just love this little band of misfits. They're all goofballs. And yeah, I loved it. It was great. The villain, I can't remember his name because my memory is garbage, but the villain was absolutely hilarious. I loved him so much. Obviously, like, it's a love to hate thing, but he was great. It was great. I gave Dodgeball 4.5 out of 5 stars, and it did not make me cry. The last movie that I watched in May was Napoleon Dynamite. The one word I would use to describe this movie is random. It's about a socially awkward high schooler who befriends a quiet kid named Pedro and then helps Pedro to run for class president. And that's it. It was definitely entertaining and definitely funny at points, and I don't know, I really liked Napoleon. He wormed his way into my heart. Nothing really happens, and I'm not really sure what the point was, but at the same time, I really enjoyed it. I give it 4 out of 5 stars, and I did not cry. Alright, so the one book that I read in May was The Desolations of Devil's Acre by Ransom, which is the 6th and final book in the Miss Peregrine's Peculiar Children's series. I did a full review of this book. I will have it linked up there. Is that where it goes? Maybe. So if you want to check it out, go watch it. I enjoyed it. I didn't love it. I think it could have been a lot better. It also could have been a lot worse. I just wasn't really invested in this story anymore. I think after the first 3 books, I was really enjoying it, but then the second trilogy just was not the same. It was not nearly as good as the first 3. It has some really solid characters and a really, really cool world, and I think it's definitely worth reading to see what happens to these characters and this world, because I really was loving it in the beginning, so I wanted to see how it ended. The things that I didn't like about it, there were several things. The main 2 things was that it undid a bunch from the first trilogy. If you know what I mean, you know what I mean. There were also so many unanswered questions, and the ending was so rushed, leaving me with so many, like, what just happened? What happened to this person or this thing that was going on? And that bothers me so much. I gave it 3 out of 5 stars, I think, and it did not make me cry. Okay, so for what I'm hoping to read in June, first we have How to Avoid a Climate Disaster by Bill Gates. This is nonfiction, which is very unusual for me. I can't even tell you the last time I read something that wasn't fiction, but it's pretty self-explanatory. Bill Gates wrote a book about climate change and how to stop it. I'm really passionate about climate change. My grandparents lent this to me, so hopefully I'll learn a lot and be able to sound more educated when I have conversations about climate change, because the passion is there for me, but the actual knowledge is not, so this is a good step for me. After that, I'm going to read The Kingdom of the Blazing Phoenix by Julie C. Dow. This is the second book in the Rise of the Empress series. The first book is Forest of a Thousand Lanterns. This series is an East Asian retelling of the Evil Queen story from Snow White, which is just the coolest concept. I enjoyed the first book. It wasn't my favorite, but it was really solid, and it definitely left me wanting to know what was going to happen next in this book, so I'm gonna read it. And the last thing that I'm hopefully going to get to in June is Puddin by Julie Murphy. This is the companion book to Dumplin', I think. That's all I really know about it. I just know that it's the companion book to Dumplin'. I enjoyed Dumplin', and I want to read this one, so there you go. So that is it for today's video. Thank you so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed it. I hope you have a fantastic day, and I will see you next time with another video. Bye.